My name is Lee Nguyen. I'm 24, and for most of my life, I was the invisible one in a family that only noticed me when there was a bill to pay or a mess to clean up. We lived in Evergreen, Colorado. Quiet place, loud secrets. My mother, Ellie, always said I was the smart one, the one with scholarships, ambition, a future. My older brother Quentin? He was the golden boy, even when he dropped out of college and started 3 failed businesses with my credit. I kept my head down, worked 2 jobs, and paid taxes on income one never made. For years, I thought being the good daughter meant surviving quietly. I didn't know I was also being turned into a criminal on paper. The day I opened our tax returns and saw my name where it never belonged, I stopped being quiet. Because they didn't just steal my money. They stole my identity, and I'm about to take it back. The lights were off when I got home. One porch bulb flickered once, then died with a soft crack. I stepped over an unopened pack of bottled water on the front step. The air smelled like damp leaves and menthol cigarettes. Inside, the kitchen was dark except for the low blue glow of the TV echoing from the living room. I dropped my bag, still in my EMT uniform, grease smudged across my shoulder. My boots left wet prints on the tile. At the table, my mother sat smoking. Her thin frame barely cast a shadow. Spread in front of her was a mess of envelopes. Red ink. Past due. Collections. Her ashtray overflowed. "You're late," she said, without turning. Again. I worked a double. Someone coded on the highway. "You think you're the only one with problems?" I stayed silent. My fingers twitched against the strap of my backpack. She finally looked at me. Her eyes were sharp, glassy. She shoved the bills toward me. "If you're so smart, then pay your own damn bills." The slap of paper on table echoed like a gunshot. I picked one up. My name in bold.
Lisa Nguyen.
And a balance I'd never seen. Loan.
32.980.71.
I never applied for this. "I didn't sign this," I said, throat dry. "Maybe you forgot," she said, lighting another cigarette. "You always forget the important things." I opened more envelopes.
Gas.
Internet. Water. All late. All under my name. "Mom, I didn't." "Don't mom me. You live here. You benefit. You owe." Quentin walked in from the hallway, wine glass in hand, shirt half-buttoned. He didn't even pretend to care. "Hey, little Miss 4.0, he smirked. "How's that medical career going?" I clenched my jaw. My boots squeaked as I stepped back. "You forged this," I said, holding up the loan notice. Ellie laughed. Not a real laugh, more like a sharp exhale laced with venom. "You think you're too good for this family? We survived without your dad. Without his money. We adjusted. So will you." "I already paid the last 2 months of rent," I said. "With my overtime. And we used it. You should be proud." Quentin sipped his wine. "Family means sharing, Lise." That's when something cracked. I didn't scream. Didn't cry. I turned, walked to my room, and started packing.
Clothes.
Flash drive.
Laptop.
The photo of me and Dad before he left. Down the hallway, footsteps followed. "Where do you think you're going?" Mom barked. "You told me to pay my own bills," I said, not looking back. "So, I'm starting by leaving." I opened the door. Quentin called after me. "You'll be back. You always crawl back." But I didn't look over my shoulder. I didn't give her the satisfaction. I walked into the cold, into the dark, into the unknown. The wind bit through my uniform. My fingers shook. But my chest? It was quiet. Clear. Like the first breath after CPR. Then I saw the slip of mail wedged under the windshield of my car. It wasn't junk. It was official. Evergreen Federal Savings. Final notice. Account holder. Lee Nguyen. Loan C98-77A. I'd never seen those numbers before in my life. "Then explain this, Quentin. Why is my social security number on a mortgage I never signed?" The windshield was iced over. I scraped it with a loyalty card that said, "Buy 9, get 1 free," while my breath clouded the air. Every second outside my mother's house felt like peeling off another layer of my own skin. I drove blind for 20 minutes. Didn't remember the turns. Just muscle memory and numb hands. By the time I got to Mari's apartment in downtown Denver, the sun hadn't risen yet. I texted once. Need to crash. Not a drill. She buzzed me in without a word. I collapsed onto her couch, still in uniform. The smell of antiseptic and metal followed me. Sit, she said, dragging out a laptop and a tangle of chargers. Tell me everything.
So I did. Fast. Cold. No tears.
Just facts. When I showed her the loan letter, she went still. Her eyes scanned it twice. Then she tilted the screen toward me. Lisa, she said slowly. They used your full name, social security, current address, and she clicked another tab. They filed a tax return for you. A joint one. I blinked.
What?
Joint filing. Like you're married. You're not married.
No.
I'm definitely not married. She spun the screen back. Then you've got a bigger problem than forged bills. Her fingers flew across the keys. We accessed the IRS transcript request tool. When I typed in my details, it showed, request already processed, 6 days ago. Someone had already pulled my tax records. My stomach dropped. I didn't authorize anything. Then someone else did, she said, standing abruptly. Check your old USB. From your scholarships folder. You used to save PDFs there, right? I dug it out of my bag.
Plugged it in.
Folders opened like tiny landmines, memories of FAFSA forms, tuition breakdowns, and years of living paycheck to paycheck. Then one folder blinked. Lisa_1099_edited. I clicked.
Corrupt.
Mari ran a recovery scan. The bar inched forward. 30 seconds. Then click. Documents filled the screen. 1,099 forms. 1,040 filings. All with my name, listing Grove Logistics LLC as employer. I'd never heard of them. Look at the refund amounts, she muttered. $8,920. $10,411. $12,300. 3 years. All filed. All paid out. All deposited into a routing number I didn't recognize.
Mari stared at me.
Lisa, this isn't small. This isn't the mistake. I stood, pacing, breathing hard. They used me. My identity. Quentin, she asked. Who else? The heat kicked on in the apartment, clicking loudly. I jumped. I went to the window. The street was empty. Mostly. A car idled across the road. Tinted windows. Lights off. You think I'm being paranoid? I asked. Mari didn't answer. She clicked again, pulling up a filing notice.
Lisa, look.
It says prepared by Kyung Nguyen, family comptroller. I stopped breathing. I never gave him that authority, I said.
He's not even.
That's not a real title. Mari leaned back, crossed her arms. He made it real enough to file 3 years of taxes under your name. I dropped onto the couch. My knees wouldn't lock. Smart criminals use real paper, Mari said, because it looks clean. You ever feel like you're standing on a trapdoor, I muttered, and everyone's waiting for you to step forward? She nodded. Only every week.
Cut scene.
Mari poured black coffee into a chipped mug. The silence in her apartment was too perfect. I scrolled through my email. Found a thread I didn't remember starting. Subject: Amendment Authorization, Grove Logistics. Attached, a scanned signature.
Meaning.
Or close. Dated 3 months ago. I whispered, that's not me.
Then prove it, Mari said.
Before they do first. Something in me clicked. What if I'm not the only one they've done this to? Mari raised an eyebrow. They could be filing for clients. Fake identities. Refund schemes. It's not just my tax return. It's a business model. She stared. Then her voice dropped. Lisa, if you're right, this isn't just family drama. This is felony tax fraud.
Cut scene.
Phone buzzed. New message. No contact name. Just a string of numbers. Stop digging. This doesn't end well. We both froze. Mari grabbed her keys. We're not staying here tonight. We drove across town. I checked the rear view every 10 seconds. The same black sedan was behind us for 7 blocks. Turned when we turned. Finally, Mari cut hard across 2 lanes. The car kept going. Distraction. Then reveal. We pulled into a gas station. While Mari fueled up, I checked my voicemail. One new message. Blocked number. A man's voice.
Calm. Familiar.
Little sisters should know when to stop playing detective. My hands clenched. If they used me to lie to the IRS, what the hell else have they done in my name? The elevator creaked as it descended. The fluorescent light inside flickered like a bad omen. Mari stood beside me, arms crossed, jaw tight. I hadn't said a word since the voicemail. There was no need. Some truths land like whispers. Others detonate. The metal doors opened to the underground garage. Mari's car was parked dead center, headlights off. I scanned the corners, no movement. No sign of the black sedan. But still, I felt it. That itch under the skin. That hum in the bones. Like we were being watched. Where exactly are we going? Mari asked as we climbed in. To my stepdad's old office. Before he skipped town, he rented space under Grove Logistics' name. Please tell me this isn't the BS. Technically, I still have a key. Technically, you're committing a felony. I looked at her. So are they.
She didn't argue. Cut scene.
The office building was 3 stories of faded brick, tucked behind a shuttered laundromat. One security light buzzed overhead. I inserted the key. The lock clicked. A dusty hallway yawned open. We entered like burglars. Flashlights low.
No alarm sounded.
The silence inside was dense. The kind that settles between screams. Mari whispered, places like this never just die. They rot. We moved past empty desks. Broken chairs. A printer frozen mid-job. The paper still stuck. Client refund confirmation. March 2022. I snapped a photo. Back room. One door locked. File cabinet beside it, jammed with folders. I yanked the top drawer open. My name stared back at me. Not once, but dozens of times. Forms.
2S.
1040s bank statements. Loan applications. All forged. All linked to me. Lisa, Mari called softly. Over here. She held up a folder labeled Assets, QN. Inside, 3 more tax returns. My name filed next to Ellie's. But that wasn't the twist. Each return listed a refund and a disbursement account with matching routing numbers. Mari tapped her phone. These belong to a fintech bank. Digital only. Almost untraceable. That's why the mail's been quiet, I said. There are no checks. No paper. Just digital ghosts. We opened more files. A notarized document slid free. Power of attorney, Lisa Nguyen, executed by Q Nguyen.
Marie Requald.
He gave himself legal authority. He forged this too. I read the fine print. Full access. Financial authority. Retroactive to last year. Quentin doesn't need to forge my signature anymore, I said. He already built the legal illusion. Outside, thud. We both froze. A soft mechanical beep sounded from the main hallway. Motion alarm. My voice cracked. We triggered something. Mari shut the folder, shoved it into her tote. We have 3 minutes max. I pocketed the power of attorney and the Grove Logistics forms. We moved fast, retracing steps. Lights flickered. I turned back once. There on the desk. A second USB. It wasn't marked. I grabbed it. As we exited the hallway, headlights beamed through the front glass. Black SUV. Same plate. Same idle hum. Back door, I hissed. We ran. Boots on linoleum. Hearts in our throats. Out the back, into the alley. Mari fumbled with her keys. I glanced behind. Door opened. One shadow stepped inside. No face. Just black. Car engine roared. Mari got the car started. Tires squealed. We peeled down the street. SUV behind us. 2 blocks. 3. It didn't gain, didn't fall back. Why aren't they chasing harder? Mari asked. Because they don't need to. I looked down at my hand. The USB. They think we don't have enough.
Cut scene.
At Mari's apartment, we booted up the second USB.
No encryption. No labels.
Just recordings. Voice memos. First file. Ellie's voice. You get Lisa to sign this. We clean out the IRS in 3 weeks.
No flags. No triggers.
She won't check. She never checks. Next one, Quentin, laughing. If she finds out, we just gaslight her. That's the family way. Mari muted the speaker. Her mouth was a thin line. I stared at the screen. A list of recordings. 1 every week. Months of planning. Strategy. Exploiting me. They didn't just lie, I said. They practiced. Who else knows? She asked. I didn't answer.
The computer chimed.
A file opened itself.
Joint 1040 rok. 2022 roku. NLN. Filed.
Accepted. Refund. $45,300. Account. Digital Vault Bank. Routing. 685. I stopped reading. They filed as if we were married, I whispered. Mari turned slowly.
Lisa.
That's not just fraud. That's federal. And, before we could say another word, my phone buzzed. Blocked number. Text only. Delete what you found. Last warning.
Run.
We didn't sleep. We copied everything.
Twice. Cloud.
Encrypted drive.
Offline backup.
The room smelled like burnt coffee and fear. My phone stayed face down, vibrating every few minutes with nothing, no calls, no texts, just phantom tremors. Mari broke the silence. We can't just sit on this. I know. My voice sounded steadier than I felt. We file mandatory reports. Identity theft affidavit. IRS Form 14039. Today. Once you do, she said, there's no rewind. Life doesn't come with one, anyway. I remembered a line I once told a patient on a stretcher. If you wait for certainty, you bleed out. I wasn't waiting.
Cut scene.
Morning light.
Gray. Cold.
We drove west, away from downtown, past foothills that looked calm enough to lie. The road narrowed. Pines closed in. The car hummed like a secret. Halfway up, the check engine light blinked on. Don't, Mari muttered. Please don't. The car coughed. Lost power. We coasted to the shoulder. Steam hissed from under the hood. The smell hit, sweet, metallic.
Coolant.
I stepped out. Wind sliced my cheeks. I popped the hood. A hose hung loose, cleanly cut. My breath went shallow. They did this, Mari said. Not a question. Headlights crested the curve behind us. Black SUV. It slowed. Didn't stop. Rolled past like a predator deciding when to eat. Distraction. Reveal. My phone rang the second it disappeared. Blocked number. I answered. You're not subtle. Quentin's voice slid through, smooth as oil. You're very dramatic for someone who doesn't understand the game. You filed joint taxes with our mother under my name. A pause. A smile I could hear. You always were bad with details. I've filed reports. Good. He sounded pleased. Paper trails are how adults play. The line went dead.
Cut scene.
Tow truck.
Delay.
Eyes everywhere. I caught a reflection in the chrome, someone across the road, pretending to check a map. He looked away when I looked back. We made it back to Denver by noon in a rental that smelled like pine cleaner and lies. IRS building. Federal.
Beige.
Quiet. A metal detector that hummed like it knew me. Inside, a field agent listened while I spoke fast and clean. Names.
Dates.
Forms. The way you do when the truth is a blade, and you need to keep it sharp. If you proceed, the agent said, this triggers an audit. It could expand.
I'm aware.
You may be scrutinized. I've been scrutinized my whole life. He slid a pamphlet across the desk. Sign here. And here.
I signed. Cut scene.
Back in the car.
Marie exhaled.
That was the point of no return.
Good.
I stared at the street. I'm tired of standing at the edge.
My phone chimed.
New email. Subject: amended return accepted. My heart stuttered. That's impossible. Mari leaned in. Open it. It showed a correction. My name removed. Another name added.
Li Nguyen.
Filed this morning. My mother was trying to outrun me.
Cut scene.
We drove to Evergreen. I didn't tell Mari where we were going until we turned onto my old street.
Lisa.
I need the originals, I said. Paper.
Ink.
The stuff that doesn't vanish. We parked 2 houses down. The curtains in my mother's living room were open.
Lights on. Midday.
Wait, Mari whispered. This is reckless. So was raising me to clean up their crimes. I went in through the back. The lock stuck, then gave. The house smelled the same, smoke and lemon cleaner and old anger. Footsteps upstairs. I moved fast. Office.
Filine cabinet.
Bottom drawer.
Locked.
I didn't break it. I used the key I knew she hid under the phone book. Some habits never change. Folders.
Manila. Thick.
The sound of paper was loud as thunder in my head. I found it. Joint 1040.
Vet's signature.
Notary's stamp. A shadow crossed the doorway.
Quentin.
He lunged. I slammed the drawer. He grabbed my arm. Hard. You always ruin things, he hissed. I drove my elbow back. He stumbled. I pepper-sprayed him point blank. He screamed. I ran. Glass shattered as I went through the side window. The yard tore at my hands. Pain bloomed. I didn't stop. Mari was already moving the car.
Idovein.
Tires screamed. We were gone.
Cut scene.
At a red light, my phone buzzed again. A new message. Different number. Nice try. You still don't know who's cashing the refunds. I stared at the screen. They made me their accomplice. And now I'm the only one who can bring them down. We didn't go back to Mari's. I didn't want to lead anyone there again. Instead, we checked into a cheap roadside motel off I-70. Peeling paint.
No cameras.
Paid in cash. A place designed to be forgotten. By morning, I was already typing. IRS Form 3949A, anonymous tip submission. Every number. Every name. Every account. Mari watched in silence.
She didn't need to say it.
She knew what I was about to do. After I hit submit, I leaned back, whispering, let's see who burns first. Cut scene. We parked 2 blocks from the Evergreen Ledger office. I handed the receptionist a sealed envelope marked, Internal Tax Fraud, Grove Logistics/Private Citizen Lisa N. Inside, copies of returns, audio transcripts, routing numbers, notarized fakes. No name. No return address.
Distraction.
Then escalation. At lunch, Mari scrolled Twitter and froze. Lisa. She turned the screen. Breaking. Alleged tax fraud ring tied to Evergreen family business. IRS confirms ongoing review. The article didn't name me. Not yet. But it named Li Nguyen. And Quentin Nguyen. And Grove Logistics. Public fallout. First domino.
Cut scene.
Back at the motel, I unplugged the second USB drive. Something in me felt lighter and heavier. Mari said, "You realize this puts a target on your back now, right?" I nodded. They aimed at me first. I'm just aiming back. The room phone rang. Old, yellow, dusty. I picked up. Ellie's voice.
Cold. Calm.
Controlled. You've done enough damage. Come home. Let's talk.
No.
I'm not asking. I'm not yours to summon anymore.
She paused.
Then I'll come to you. The line clicked.
Cut scene. Night.
A knock at the door. Mari looked through the peephole. It's them. I opened it anyway.
Ellie. Quentin.
And 2 men in suits, one I vaguely recognized. A former tax consultant. Had drinks at her house once when I was 16. Can we come in? Ellie asked. Polite.
Snake-like. No.
Quentin smiled. Then we'll talk here. The hallway stank of chlorine and cigarettes. You don't understand what you're doing, Ellie said. I understand you forged my life. I raised you.
Fed you.
Owned me. Quentin stepped closer. Shut it down, Lisa. You think the IRS cares about your sob story? No, I said. They care about numbers. And I just gave them all of yours.
Cut scene.
They left. Quiet.
No srets.
Just a final glance from Ellie that said everything. This isn't over. I slumped against the door. My legs shook. Mari handed me a bottle of water. You okay?
No.
But it's the right kind of not okay. The next morning, a contact Mari knew through her cousin, an ex-tax attorney turned investigator, called me. You're not crazy, he said. The refund totals alone justify a probe. But here's the kicker. These aren't just standard fakes. What are they? Structured filings. Deliberate layering. They've been doing this a long time. With others. A network. Not just family fraud. A system.
Cut scene.
Back at Evergreen. My hands still burned from the glass. But I needed the last thing, the physical return form with blue ink signature. The final proof. I broke in at 4:17 a.m. Quiet.
Fast.
Focused. Office drawer. Same hiding spot.
Gone.
I checked the closet. Found it, taped inside the back of a painting. As I reached, a hand grabbed mine.
Quentin.
No more games, he growled. He shoved me. I hit the wall. The picture cracked. I swung the flashlight. Missed. He tackled. We crashed through the desk. Wood splintered. I reached blindly. Fingers found a pen. Jabbed it backward. He roared. I grabbed the folder. Crawled. My side ached. I threw myself through the window again. Yard.
Mud.
Fence. Blood in my mouth. Mari's car screeched in.
She didn't ask.
I didn't explain. We drove.
The folder shook in my hands.
Inside, 1040 joint filing. Original return. Blue ink.
Notarizal.
With it, an email printed on the back. Digital Vault Wire Transfer Authorization. Ellingwin to C. Nolan. I blinked. C. Nolan? I knew that name. He wasn't family. He was the former IRS agent Ellie dated. The one who consulted Quentin. So, this wasn't just identity theft. It was collusion. See you in court, big brother. The courtroom was smaller than I expected.
No cameras.
No jury box. Just 4 rows of pews, a tired judge, 2 government lawyers, and the family that had spent years feeding off my name. Mari sat behind me, hands clasped, eyes locked forward. I didn't look at my mother. Or Quentin. Not at first. The federal agent on our case spoke first.
Calm.
Efficient. He laid it out like a surgeon, cutting clean. Multiple instances of tax fraud. Identity theft. Bank wire fraud. Use of fabricated documents. Conspiracy to defraud a federal agency. The words felt like steel. Cold and hard and final. Quentin shifted in his chair. Sweat glistened on his collar. Ellie didn't blink. When they played the recordings, her voice whispering tactics, his laughter about forged filings, the room changed. Energy shifted. Even the court reporter stiffened. I was asked to confirm my identity, my employment history, my tax records, my lack of knowledge about Grove Logistics, about C. Nolan, about the accounts. I answered clearly, quietly. Then they asked the final question. Do you have anything else to submit into evidence? I opened my folder. The original return. Blue ink. Notary. Wire transfer slip with Nolan's name. A memo from an internal email. Quentin forwarding the transaction as secured. I handed them over.
Distraction.
Then reveal.
Cut scene.
The judge recessed for 10 minutes. I stepped into the hallway, heart thudding. Mari followed, silent until the doors closed behind us. You did it. I nodded. Not yet. We stood there.
Quentin came out next.
Alone.
Pale.
He stopped in front of me.
His voice was low.
You'll regret this. I already regretted letting it happen. He looked like he wanted to say more but didn't. He walked away instead. Shoulders sagged. Hands shaking.
Cut scene.
A week later, the Ledger published the full story. With names.
Dates.
Amounts. The fraud had touched more than just me. 2 other identities were confirmed. One was a neighbor's son, who never even knew his name was used. See, Nolan was already under investigation. The story went national. I watched from Mari's couch. Phone buzzing every hour. Interview requests. Legal updates. A message from someone claiming to be my father, asking if I was okay. I didn't answer. Instead, I got dressed. Downtown Denver. Studio lights.
Green room.
A reporter greeted me with a warm smile, then a mic check. You ready to talk about what they did? No, I said. I'm ready to talk about what I survived. The interview rolled. I didn't rehearse. I didn't spin. I just told it. What it's like to grow up thinking love was earned through sacrifice. What it's like to wake up and realize your name has been stolen, rewritten, repurposed by people who said they loved you. What it's like to fight for your identity, not as a victim, but as proof that you exist beyond what they forged. Some people inherit houses, I said. I inherited debt and lies. The camera stayed silent. They used my name to build their empire, I said. Now I use my voice to tear it down.
Cut scene.
A month later, Ellie and Quentin were both indicted. Formal charges. Felony counts. They pled not guilty. Trial was set for next spring. I walked out of the courthouse, one last time. Same air. Same sidewalk. Different me.
Marie-Anded me a coffee.
We sat on the edge of the planter. You're still shaking, she said. Maybe I always will. But now I shake on my terms. The truth doesn't always set you free. Sometimes, it just shows you who is keeping you locked up. And some doors don't need keys. They just need someone to stop being afraid of opening them. This time, I signed for myself.